talk to Andrew Morton, talk to Tom Bauer. All of these people that have written books about her have been like, it's a struggle to get to the truth of who this female was. She's reinvented herself so many times throughout the last 44 years.
What if I told you that the biggest royal scandal of our generation isn't what you've been told? What if the real story, the one that could bring down the entire monarchy, has been hidden in plain sight this entire time? Meghan is hardly innocent. She's down in the dirt with me whether she likes it or not. Those are allegedly the words of Prince Andrew. And right now, according to insider sources, Meghan Markle is reportedly in full panic mode. You need to know that the story you're about to hear is not in any way gentle. It's explosive, it's disturbing, and it connects dots that the palace has desperately tried to keep separated. Prince Andrew is speaking, and what he's saying could destroy everything Meghan has built. Are you ready to discover what the palace has been hiding? Because once you hear this, you'll never see the royal family the same way again. But first, we need to go back to where this all began, to a scandal that rocked the world and destroyed one prince's life, while another royal connection remained mysteriously untouched. Andrew's downfall. Prince Andrew's downfall wasn't small.
Again with that breaking news from Buckingham Palace, which has confirmed Prince Andrew will be stripped of his prince title and forced to leave Royal Lodge.
It wasn't private, it wasn't gentle, it was global. His close ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Some of the victims of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are demanding the release of all the files relating to the case.
And the serious claims involving Virginia Roberts crushed his public standing overnight.
The BBC is set to air an hour-long interview with Virginia Roberts Giuffre. And ABC's Julia McFarlane joins us now from our London bureau with more. Julia, good morning.
Can you imagine? One day you're a prince with titles, respect, and royal privileges. The next day everything is stripped away. Titles were removed. Doors were closed. His royal future was erased in plain sight. The world saw it. The press reported it relentlessly. The palace acted swiftly and decisively. But here's where this story takes a strange turn. A turn that should make you stop and question everything you've been told. If Andrew was destroyed because of Epstein, why has there been complete silence about Meghan Markle's claimed connection to the same world? Think about that for a moment. Same circle, same timeline, same social orbit, yet two completely different outcomes. One royal punished and exiled, one royal protected and elevated. No headlines about Meghan, no pressure, no investigation, nothing. It doesn't make sense, does it? It's like someone placed a wall of silence around Meghan's history, like certain topics were locked away on purpose. And that silence, that deliberate, calculated silence, is exactly what makes this story so explosive. Because here's what you need to understand. Silence doesn't mean innocence. Silence means someone doesn't want the truth discussed. Have you ever wondered why some scandals explode while others disappear? Why some people are held accountable while others walk free? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this pattern is about to get even more disturbing. And that leads us to the next shocking layer, one that changes how we view Meghan's history entirely. The secret connection. Before Harry, before the wedding, before the headlines, before the world knew her name, sources claim Meghan had a not-so-secret personal relationship with Prince Andrew. Let that sink in. Not a distant acquaintance, not a casual hello at a public event, a close connection. According to those familiar with the situation, Andrew reportedly told friends that he knew Meghan long before she became a duchess and that their relationship was far more personal than anyone was ever told publicly. This is the part no one talks about. The part that's been scrubbed from the narrative, the part that changes absolutely everything about how Meghan entered the royal world. Because if Meghan and Andrew had a real, direct relationship in the past, then she wasn't entering the royal world as an outsider. She was already connected, already embedded, already positioned. And that changes everything. It raises questions the palace never answered, questions they desperately hoped no one would ask. How did they meet? How close were they really? What was the nature of their relationship? Why was this never acknowledged publicly? And most importantly, why was this information hidden when Andrew's scandal came crashing down? Think about the timing. If Andrew fell because of his associations, and Meghan was claimed to be part of that same circle, why did only one of them take the hit? Was someone protecting her? Was the palace afraid of something bigger coming out? Or was Meghan's history considered too dangerous to expose? Whatever the reason, this chapter of her past was sealed tight, locked away, protected with layers of palace security and media silence. Until now. And the next clue takes us somewhere unexpected, onto the water, into a world connected to Epstein, and right into the heart of the storm. The yacht photos. If you're finding this investigation valuable, make sure to subscribe to Royal Daily Report and hit that like button. We bring you the royal stories no one else will cover. And trust me, you won't want to miss where this goes next. When you follow a story like this, patterns matter. Places matter. People matter. And in this case, one name becomes a key bridge between worlds. Karina Shuliak, Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. She stated publicly, on the record, that the only time she flew on private planes or yachts was when she was with Epstein. Those trips weren't casual vacations. They weren't random getaways. They were part of his private world, his inner circle, his controlled environment. Now, here's where Meghan enters the picture in a way that should disturb everyone. In 2014, photographs surfaced of Meghan on a yacht. Not just any yacht, a private, elite, exclusive yacht, placing her in the same lifestyle space that Shuliak described. A space closely tied to Epstein's world. Not a public cruise, not a charity event, a private yacht in that world. And when you connect that to Meghan's claimed past relationship with Andrew, the picture becomes even more unsettling. Same timeline, same social circles, same power environment, same orbits of influence. This doesn't look like coincidence, does it? It looks like proximity. And proximity matters, especially when a scandal later explodes and one person falls while the other walks away untouched. Ask yourself this: if Andrew was destroyed because of his presence in that world, then Meghan being anywhere near that orbit raises the question. What did she know? And why wasn't this ever discussed? The yacht is more than a photo. It's a doorway into a chapter of Meghan's life that was never explained, never questioned, and never addressed publicly. And that silence? That's where the real story begins. Because the closer you look, the more it becomes clear. Meghan wasn't just standing near the storm. She was standing inside it. Virginia Roberts' claim. As Prince Andrew's scandal exploded across every news outlet on the planet, one name stood at the center of it all: Virginia Roberts Giuffre. She was not a reporter, not a commentator, not an outsider looking in. She was the woman whose claims helped bring Andrew's world crashing down, the woman whose testimony destroyed his reputation forever. And according to claims that have circulated among royal insiders, Virginia didn't just want powerful men questioned. She reportedly wanted Meghan Markle called as a witness. Stop and think about that. Not because Meghan was a celebrity, not because she married Harry, but because, as the claim suggests, Meghan was considered a close past associate of Prince Andrew. That phrase carries enormous weight. It means someone believed Meghan wasn't a stranger to Andrew's private world. It means she may have been present, aware, or at least nearby during parts of his life that later came under international scrutiny. The reasoning behind this claimed request was simple and devastating. If Meghan had a personal relationship with Andrew before Harry, she might have seen things, heard things, been around the environments others only whispered about. And here's the most unsettling part of all. If Meghan truly had nothing to do with that world, why would her name even be considered in the first place? Witnesses aren't chosen randomly. Witnesses are chosen because they might know something. But when the legal storm hit and the pressure mounted, Meghan was never called. Her name disappeared from the conversation. Her connection was never brought up publicly again. It was as if someone erased that chapter of her life, as if powerful forces intervened to ensure certain questions were never asked. And instead of answers, the world got silence. But silence doesn't erase history. Silence only buries it, and the deeper you go, the clearer it becomes that Meghan wasn't just dropped into royal life as a Hollywood actress who got lucky. She was already touching the edges of elite power before she ever met Prince Harry. Which brings us to the next turning point. How did Meghan get into those circles in the first place? Marcus Anderson and Soho House. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Royal Daily Report for more exclusive royal investigations. The algorithm needs to see that people want the truth, so your engagement literally helps us continue this work. When Meghan moved to Toronto to film Suits, she wasn't yet a household name. She wasn't royal. She wasn't global. She was a working actress with ambition, but without access to the world's most powerful rooms. That changed fast, very fast. According to sources, something significant happened when she arrived in Toronto. Marcus Anderson entered her life. Who is Marcus Anderson? A senior figure connected to Soho House, the private, exclusive network known for high-profile members, secret events, and elite connections that span continents. Anderson didn't just meet Meghan casually at a party. He reportedly recruited her, brought her into the fold, introduced her to the highest levels of Toronto society. He opened doors most people never even see, doors that lead to wealth, influence, and power. Through him, she reportedly connected with influential figures, including Jessica Mulroney, and expanded into circles linked to New York's wealth and power elite. This wasn't random socializing. This was positioning, strategic, calculated, deliberate. One introduction led to another. One circle led to the next. One network led to powerful access. And before long, Meghan wasn't just an actress on a cable show. She was networking with people who had connections to royalty, to wealth, to the kind of power that opens palace doors. By the time her name ever entered Harry's world, Meghan had already stepped into elite environments that traced toward royalty, wealth, and, according to the earlier claims, Prince Andrew's orbit. Her rise wasn't overnight luck. It was constructed, engineered, guided, and the closer she got to power, the more her path began to intersect with names that would later become explosive. But here's where the story takes its darkest turn yet, because according to sources, Harry wasn't Meghan's first royal focus. Someone else was. The Andrew target theory. Someone older, someone already inside the palace, someone tied to Epstein, Prince Andrew. Yes, before Harry ever entered the picture, sources claim Meghan had her eyes set on Prince Andrew, not as a mentor, not as a friend, but reportedly as a romantic and strategic target. This changes the entire story, doesn't it? It suggests Meghan wasn't just drifting through elite society hoping to get noticed. She was aiming upward, calculating, choosing, positioning herself for proximity to titles, status, and royal access. But standing between Meghan and Andrew was one formidable woman, Sarah Ferguson, Fergie. Fergie wasn't just Andrew's ex-wife. She was his gatekeeper, his long-standing ally, a protector of his royal space. And according to the claim, Fergie blocked Meghan from getting close enough to Andrew to pursue anything further. That barrier forced a pivot, a recalculation, a new strategy. Because if Meghan couldn't reach Andrew, she needed another path into the monarchy. And that's where fate, or strategy, shifted dramatically. Meghan didn't expect to end up with Harry. She didn't expect to catch a prince who was young, popular, beloved, and positioned directly in the royal spotlight. But when the opportunity appeared, she took it, and once she had Harry's attention, she didn't let go. What began as a claimed plan to move toward Andrew suddenly turned into the biggest royal leap of the century. Meghan didn't just enter the royal family. She married into its heart. She became a duchess. She gained global attention. She positioned herself at the center of the world's most famous institution. And that move would change everything, not just for her, but for the monarchy, for Harry, and for the secrets now hanging in the shadows. Because the next part of this story takes us into the fallout, the realization, the cover-up, the threat, and the one truth powerful enough to destroy it all. Harry's realization. Make sure you're subscribed to Royal Daily Report and have liked this video. We're uncovering the truth about the royal family, and your support keeps this investigation going. When Harry married Meghan, he believed he had found freedom, love, a partner who stood outside the royal machine. He thought he was escaping the cold halls of the palace and entering a new life built on honesty and trust. But according to sources, that belief didn't last. As time passed, whispers began to reach him. Quiet comments, old stories, hidden connections, mentions of Meghan's past linked to Prince Andrew, long before Harry ever met her. At first, he refused to believe any of it. Can you imagine the woman you love, the woman you gave up your royal life for, being connected to your own disgraced uncle? He defended her fiercely. He protected her reputation. He cut himself off from the family members who tried to warn him. He called them jealous, controlling, racist. But eventually, something changed. According to claims from palace insiders, Harry didn't just hear the rumors anymore. He finally accepted what he didn't want to face. He realized the royal family's warnings weren't jealousy, control, or cruelty. They were truth, and that truth reportedly hit him like a freight train. Sources say Harry became disgusted, distant, overwhelmed, barely able to look at Meghan without remembering the past she never disclosed. He felt trapped in California, far from his family, far from home, tied to a marriage now filled with questions he couldn't answer and truths he couldn't escape. For Harry, this wasn't just a scandal, it was betrayal on the deepest level. Because if Meghan had a personal connection to Andrew and had once aimed for Andrew instead of him, then Harry wasn't chosen for love, he was chosen for usefulness, for access, for the path he could provide. And that realization, according to the claims, shattered him completely. But while Harry crumbled privately, the palace was making decisions publicly. Decisions that revealed something much bigger was happening behind the scenes. The palace cover-up. You would expect the press to explode over Meghan's claimed past with Andrew, right? You would expect headlines, investigations, documentaries, and non-stop coverage, especially after the Epstein scandal destroyed Andrew's reputation and forced him into exile. But none of that happened. Instead, the palace and the media remained silent, completely, strategically silent. According to the claims, that silence wasn't accidental, it was strategic, calculated, orchestrated from the very top. The palace had three major fears driving their decision to bury this story. Fear number one, Harry's mental state. If the truth came out publicly, it could break Harry completely. The monarchy didn't want a prince collapsing in front of the world. They didn't want Harry having a breakdown, making public statements, or worse, confirming the story himself. Fear. Number two, a second Epstein. Explosion. If Meghan was tied, even loosely, to the same orbit that took Andrew down, the monarchy could face a scandal far bigger than the first. One Epstein scandal nearly destroyed them. A second one, involving the beloved Prince Harry's wife, could be fatal. Fear number three, structural collapse. If the public discovered Meghan's claimed past connection to Andrew, the palace could look reckless, careless, and incompetent for letting her into the royal family in the first place. Their vetting process would be exposed as either negligent or complicit. So instead of exposing the truth, they buried it. Deep. No statements, no questions, no investigation. Meghan was protected, not because she was innocent, but because exposing her could burn the entire monarchy to the ground. And while the palace built a wall of silence around Meghan, one person on the inside refused to stay quiet forever. A man with nothing left to lose. A man who took the fall while others walked free. Prince Andrew. Andrew's breaking point. Hit that like button and subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. You won't want to miss what happens next in this investigation, because this is where everything explodes. Imagine falling alone. Imagine watching your reputation destroyed, your titles stripped.
Prince Andrew gives up all his titles in the wake of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Your future erased, all while someone who shared your world, your circles, and according to sources, your claimed personal history walked away completely untouched. That is Prince Andrew's reality right now. According to the claims, Andrew is furious, bitter, resentful, and tired of being the only one punished while Meghan remains protected by palace walls and media silence. He reportedly feels he took the fall for a world she was also part of. And now, sources say, he is ready to talk, ready to leak everything, not out of justice, not out of nobility, but out of pure resentment and revenge. And he isn't alone. Sources claim that Sarah Ferguson, Fergie herself, is aligned with him. Together, they reportedly hold knowledge about Meghan's past, her connection to Andrew, and the hidden chapters that the palace has kept quiet for years. For the first time, the danger doesn't come from the press. It doesn't come from activists or investigators. It comes from inside the royal family itself. A man silenced for years, a man with no future left to protect, a man who could blow up the truth with a single statement. And the moment Andrew speaks, even one sentence, the world will turn. Because once he talks, silence can no longer protect Meghan. The palace can no longer control the narrative, and the monarchy itself could face its greatest crisis in modern history. And that leads us to the final, most explosive point, the truth that could end everything, the vetting failure. But before we get to the ultimate revelation, we need to address something that nobody in the palace wants to discuss, something that exposes either incompetence or complicity at the highest levels. How did Meghan pass royal vetting? Think about this logically. The British royal family has one of the most sophisticated security and intelligence operations in the world. MI5, MI6, Scotland Yard, private investigators, all of them work together to vet anyone who comes close to the royal family. And when someone is going to marry a prince, the vetting becomes even more intense. Background checks that go back decades, financial investigations, relationship histories, social connections. Everything is examined under a microscope. So how did Meghan's alleged connection to Andrew never come up? How did her presence in elite circles connected to Epstein's world never raise a red flag? There are only 3 possible explanations, and none of them are good. Explanation 1. Gross incompetence. The royal vetting team simply missed everything. They failed to discover connections that amateur internet researchers allegedly found. They overlooked yacht photos, social circle overlaps, and direct relationships with someone already in the royal family. If this is true, it means the palace security is dangerously incompetent, and that raises questions about every other security decision they've made. Explanation 2. Deliberate concealment. Someone within the palace knew about Meghan's past but deliberately hid it or downplayed it. Perhaps they thought the connections were innocent. Perhaps they were afraid of being called racist for investigating too thoroughly. Perhaps they simply didn't want to disappoint Harry. If this is true, it means the palace knowingly allowed someone with questionable connections to marry into the royal family, and that makes them complicit in whatever follows. Explanation 3. They knew and didn't care. The most disturbing possibility? The palace discovered everything during vetting, but decided Meghan's Hollywood fame and American background were worth the risk. They thought they could control the narrative. They thought they could bury the past. If this is true, it means the palace gambled with the monarchy's reputation and lost spectacularly. Which explanation do you think is most likely? Comment below with incompetence, concealment, or calculated risk. Because regardless of which answer is correct, it proves one thing beyond doubt. The palace failed. Either through negligence, cowardice, or arrogance, they allowed a situation to develop that now threatens the entire institution. And now, they're paying the price. The dominoes begin to fall. Here's what makes this situation even more explosive. Once Andrew starts talking, he won't be able to stop. Think about how scandals actually unfold in the real world. It's never one revelation. It's a cascade. One person speaks, which gives courage to another. One detail emerges, which leads to questions about related details. One lie gets exposed, which makes people question everything else they've been told. Andrew speaking about Meghan won't just be a single news cycle. It will open floodgates. Sources suggest that if Andrew confirms Meghan's presence in his social circles before Harry, other people from those circles will feel emboldened to speak as well. People who have been quiet because they didn't want to face palace legal teams or media attacks. Staff members who witnessed interactions. Event organizers who have records of attendees. Photographers who took pictures that were never published. Associates who have stories that were never told. Once the wall of silence cracks, everything behind it comes pouring out. And here's what the palace truly fears. They can't control this narrative. They can't spin it. They can't use their usual tactics of sources say, and palace insiders claim. Because this time, the source would be Prince Andrew himself, a member of the royal family, someone who cannot be dismissed as a conspiracy theorist or a tabloid liar. His words carry weight, whether the palace likes it or not. And if he decides to do a televised interview or write a book, or even just release a carefully crafted statement, the damage will be catastrophic. The palace's only option at that point would be to call Andrew a liar. But if they do that, he can respond with evidence, with names, with dates, with specifics that force the palace into either confirming his claims or looking even more dishonest. It's a no-win situation. And King Charles knows it. Princess Catherine knows it. Prince William knows it. That's why they've been quietly distancing the monarchy from both Andrew and the Sussexes. They're building firewalls, creating separation, establishing plausible deniability. Because when the explosion comes, they want to be far enough away to survive the blast. The ultimate truth. Every story has a breaking point. Every secret has a moment when it can no longer be hidden. Every cover-up eventually cracks under its own weight. And in this story, that moment is coming. Because according to sources, there exists one truth, one buried reality, one piece of evidence or testimony that could destroy Meghan's royal chapter forever. A truth held not only by Andrew, but reportedly by Fergie and even Princess Eugenie. A truth tied to Meghan's past relationship with Andrew. A truth tied to the Epstein orbit. A truth tied to the reason the palace stayed silent when they could have spoken. If that truth comes out, if Andrew finally breaks his silence, Meghan doesn't just lose status. She loses everything. Her public image, her royal identity, her future influence, her carefully constructed narrative of being a victim and a hero. All of it gone in an instant. And the monarchy itself could be shaken to its core, because Meghan didn't just marry into the royal family. According to these claims, she infiltrated it. She positioned herself strategically. She moved through elite circles with purpose. She aimed for royal connection before Harry ever appeared. And if Andrew speaks, if he breaks his silence and tells what he knows, the world will not see Meghan the same way ever again. The story of the modern royal fairy tale will crack open, revealing a history darker and more dangerous than anyone imagined. Charles and Catherine's response. And that's why Meghan is panicking right now. That's why the palace is frozen in careful silence. That's why Harry is reportedly unraveling emotionally. And that's why Catherine and Charles have reportedly taken decisive action. According to sources close to the palace, Princess Catherine has stepped into calm, strategic leadership during this crisis. While others panic, she remains composed, focused, clear-headed. She understands what's at stake. She knows the monarchy's survival depends on steady leadership, not emotional reactions. Catherine has reportedly been in constant communication with King Charles, helping to coordinate the palace's response strategy. She's working with senior advisors to prepare for multiple scenarios, from Andrew's complete silence to his full public confession. And she's doing something else that's absolutely crucial. She's protecting William, because William is caught in an impossible position. Andrew is his uncle. Harry is his brother. And Meghan, she's the woman who married his brother and then, according to these claims, brought hidden scandal into the heart of his family. Catherine understands that William cannot be seen taking sides publicly. He cannot attack Andrew without looking like he's protecting Meghan. He cannot defend Meghan without looking like he's ignoring Andrew's claims. So Catherine has positioned herself as the steady hand, the voice of reason, the future queen who leads not with emotion, but with wisdom. And King Charles? Sources claim he has made a decision that will change the royal landscape forever. He has reportedly confirmed the gradual removal of Harry and Meghan from any remaining royal privileges, influence, or connection. Not publicly, not dramatically, but systematically, deliberately, and permanently. Invitations that don't arrive, events where they're no longer welcome, titles that carry less weight with each passing month, financial support that quietly dries up. The monarchy is bracing for impact. They're preparing for the moment Andrew speaks. They're positioning themselves to survive the explosion because they know it's coming. They just don't know exactly when. And when it does come, they want to be able to say, "We had already distanced ourselves from the Sussexes. We had already recognized the problem. We were already taking action. It's damage control before the damage even happens, and it's the smartest move Charles could make." The inevitable reckoning. The only question now is this: what happens when the man who lost everything finally decides he has nothing left to protect? When that moment comes, the world won't just hear a confession. It will witness history rewriting itself in real time. And this story, this investigation, this is only the beginning, because the truth doesn't stay buried forever. Secrets don't remain silent indefinitely, and when powerful people fall, they often take others down with them. Prince Andrew knows things. Sarah Ferguson knows things. And according to sources, they're ready to share what they know, not because it's right, not because it's noble, but because they've reached the point where they have nothing left to lose, and everything to gain from watching the palace scramble. Meghan built her royal life on a foundation of carefully constructed narratives, strategic positioning, and protected secrets. But what happens when those secrets are no longer protected? What happens when the people who know the truth decide silence is no longer worth maintaining? We're about to find out. And here's what makes this moment so dangerous for everyone involved. Once Andrew speaks, it won't just be about Meghan anymore. It will raise questions about Harry's judgment, about the palace's vetting process, about the media's complicity in hiding certain stories while amplifying others, about who knew what and when they knew it. It will force conversations that the monarchy has spent years trying to avoid. Conversations about access, privilege, protection, and double standards. Because if Meghan was connected to the same world that destroyed Andrew, and if the palace knew or should have known, then every member of the royal family who welcomed her becomes implicated in the cover-up. That includes Charles. That includes William. That includes everyone who stood at that wedding and smiled for the cameras while allegedly knowing there were questions that should have been asked. The reckoning won't be Meghan's alone. It will be collective, and that's exactly why the palace has tried so desperately to keep this buried. But you can't bury the truth forever. Eventually, the ground shifts. Eventually, someone starts digging. Eventually, what was hidden comes to light, and when it does, nothing will ever be the same. Closing. This has been Royal Daily Report, your #1 source for royal family truth and investigations that mainstream media won't touch. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Prince Andrew's claims about Meghan's past? Comment, "Andrew is right" if you think he's telling the truth, or "Protect Meghan" if you think this is just revenge. Do you think the palace made the right decision to cover this up, or should they have exposed the truth from the beginning? Let me know your thoughts below. And what about Harry? Is he a victim in all of this, or should he have known better? Drop your opinion in the comments. Should the palace have done more thorough vetting before allowing Meghan to marry Harry? Comment, "Vetting failed" if you think they dropped the ball, or "unavoidable" if you think no vetting process could have predicted this. If you found this investigation valuable and eye-opening, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and share this video with others who want to know the real story behind the royal family. Turn on notifications with the bell icon so you never miss our breaking reports. Because trust me, as this story develops, you won't want to be left in the dark. The monarchy is facing its greatest crisis in generations, and we'll be here covering every development, every leak, every explosive revelation as it happens. Thank you for watching Royal Daily Report. The truth is coming, and nothing will ever be the same. Remember, in the Game of Thrones, you either win or you disappear. And right now, someone is about to disappear from the royal story forever. The question is, who will it be? Will it be Andrew, finally silenced permanently by palace pressure? Will it be Meghan, exposed and exiled from royal life? Will it be Harry, broken by the weight of truths he can no longer deny? Or will it be the monarchy itself, unable to survive yet another scandal that proves the institution cannot police itself? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the silence is breaking, the walls are cracking, and the truth, whatever it may be, is coming. Stay tuned, stay vigilant, and most importantly, stay informed. This is Royal Daily Report, signing off.